YouTube. So I am making this video for people who are deciding whether to get one kitten or two kittens. Um, right off the bat, I will say I highly, 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 highly recommend getting two kittens. Um, so I know that some of the concerns about getting two would be space and money, right? There's twice the food, twice the litter. You want to make sure to have space to run around. Um, and those are completely understandable, valid concerns. So I definitely understand if you're like, oh, I know I should get two, and I can understand like the psychological reasons for getting two, and maybe I don't have the funds for that. So from personal experience, I have the unfortunate experience of having had one kitten about 15 years ago when I was living in a pretty big house, and how unhappy that kitten was. Versus now I live in a pretty small apartment and I have two kittens, and I'm looking at them right now, napping, super content, have always really been, thank God, like very happy. So a really big part of that is I think that it's because they have each other, right? So it really isn't about the space. They have each other for the stimulation, the play. So I want to tell you guys a story about 15 years ago, idiot me getting a kitten. Like, just I had this rant. I was like, I want to get a kitten. I've always been obsessed with cats. I think they're so smart, so wonderful, so loyal, so affectionate. There's a lot of misconceptions about cats, and they're doing more research and really finding how much attention they need, like how affectionate they are and how social they are, how loving they are. So yeah, so back to my story. So 15 years ago, the first thing that I did that was a mistake was that I got that kitten for free. Um, do not give away these animals for free. Always charge something. There needs to be an energetic exchange, but that's a whole other video. So yeah, I actually found these cats on Craigslist too, but I paid like at least $200 for them, I think. But that was a lady, she was selling kittens, or she was giving away kittens. And I found her on Craigslist 15 years ago. I got this beautiful, beautiful kitten. I loved her. She was gorgeous, like so naughty, wonderful. But she was a kitten and she had a lot of energetic needs. Like she wanted to play all the time. Kittens are so energetic, they need so much stimulation. And I made the mistake of not getting two, right? I got one. At the time I was living in my parents' house. So, right, it was this big house. She had space, but I didn't want to rock the boat by getting two. I was already getting a random like kitten. She had space. We had the food. She had all these things. I was present for a lot of her like play needs, but she was not happy, right? So I think that's the biggest takeaway. Like she was so thirsty to go outside. Like the moment the door would open, she'd be right there. She had all these strategic maneuvers to run outside and escape us as we were trying to keep her inside, because I really wanted her to be a indoor cat. And she was not having it. She could, I think she could smell the other cats outside, and she really wanted to be around her people, right? Her species. And so she wasn't happy. And then spoiler alert, she one day, like she had ran outside, and I think I was at work, and she didn't come back. Like we looked for her and looked for her, and there were so many factors that went into this occurring, right? So I don't think it's just because she didn't have a kitten companion, but I also feel like it was a huge part of why she wasn't content in the house, right? It wasn't the only reason, but it was a huge part. And if I can avoid anyone else having to deal with the guilt that I feel, this happened 15 years ago, I think about it all the time. All the time. I miss her. I could start crying right now if I talk about it too much, but like if I can avoid anyone else feeling that guilt, I will make 50 billion videos on this, right? So I highly recommend to, only because now, of course, I have, again, the blessing and curse of having both experiences. And now I have these two kittens in my apartment. Well, they're like about 2 years old now. But when I got them, they had each other to play with. They were stimulated from each other. They would groom each other. They would calm each other down. Like if we were traveling or something, they they were regulating each other's nervous systems, right? But when you're a human and you're trying to calm down one cat, there's it doesn't work. Like it doesn't work as much as it should, especially in the beginning. They really need another, like you need um, someone from your species to really show you how to be, like how to be a cat. And I've read a lot of research on this as well. For your mental health and your kitten's mental health, I highly recommend getting two kittens. Um, so I feel like I can answer like individualized questions about this. If you have any questions, ask me. Like I'm so passionate about this topic because I want everyone to really feel like informed. And it's not fun having a grumpy cat. Like, right, you want to build that sacred bond with your animal, and you really want your animal to be happy. So if you're going to this journey, you're just deciding, do yourself a huge favor and get two kittens. Because I'm sure like all of us know, and this goes along with there not being enough research on this. All of us know that one person's cat who's just grumpy. And it's like this thing that's just normalized. It's like, oh yeah, like Todd's just grumpy, right? That's it's my cousin's cat. Todd's so grumpy and mean. Or like somebody else will have like a single cat and be like, oh yeah, like, like Sally, she's just mean. I do believe that if those cats had had a kitten companion when they were kittens and they'd been adopted together, they wouldn't just be grumpy. Right? I don't think a cat's natural state is to be grumpy or particularly mean, right? I think these cats needed that psychological play stimulation when they were younger to really develop those social skills. Um, so yeah, I feel like that's kind of normalized, and I'm not here for it. I do feel like just from my anecdotal experience, having had the one kitten versus having two now, it's worlds of difference, like the way they are with me, and they still give you the same amount of attention. It's just you have time to like do your hobbies and eat. If you want to like take a day trip, they have each other. Um, and you can just feel that they're more peaceful. So yeah, I feel like I'm forgetting a few things that I wanted to say, but ask me questions. Seriously, ask me questions. Send me emails. Like I will make a case for this and talk to you for hours. Like I just don't want anyone to go through the guilt that I feel, and also like nobody wants like an animal that's unhappy, right? So yeah, thank you for listening.